And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Hello, I'm National Weather Service meteorologist Peter Chan with your Alaska weather on this Saturday, November 30th, 2024. As we wrap up the month of November and head December, if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube video, go to weather.gov. That is the National Weather Service's online presence. It'll bring you to a web page with the map of a continental U.S. and Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left, and then tabs for the territories. I like to start out with this map because we have other things happening in other parts of the country. Big travel period with the Thanksgiving holiday and as we head toward Christmas and New Year's. Winter weather finally hitting areas of the Great Lakes. We have winter storm warnings mainly due to heavier lake effect snow. Some of these snows quite hefty downwind of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Some of the heaviest snow falling near and just south of Buffalo. A couple of feet of snow expected there. 2 to 3 feet of snow around Waterton, New York. Further south, 1 to 3 inches of snow through the lower Ohio Valley along the Ohio River there, Kentucky, southern parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio into West Virginia. And then freeze warnings for the deep south going all the way down to the Gulf Coast, the Florida Panhandle, and then back to the west. Air quality, poor air quality over portions of Idaho and Oregon. But here in Alaska, we do have some heavier snowfall that's going to be pushing up into the Panhandle, especially central northern sections as we go through later tonight, Sunday, into early Monday. Could even be a little bit of an icy mix, including some light freezing rain. Prince of Wales Island, as moisture moves up from the North Pacific across the eastern half of the Gulf into the Panhandle. Now, there are also winter weather advisories mainly for blowing snow in the central interior, the highlands north and east of Fairbanks, up around Gobbler's Knob and Anatuvik Pass. As we go across the interior, there's a core of Arctic air that's going to be head southwestward out toward the Bering Sea. So it's working its way across the middle interior and will be pushing off the YK Delta tonight and during the day on Sunday. And it looks like the most active weather will continue along the Gulf Coast through early to mid-December. We're going to see frequent weather systems lift out in the North Pacific with feeds of moisture that will impact areas, especially along the Gulf Coast and Panhandle, all the way westward to, at times, Kodiak Island and the Alaska Peninsula. But this Saturday afternoon, there is blowing snow along the Beaufort Sea coastline. It is actually still a blizzard warning just about to expire for Point Thompson, Kaktovik, Dead Horse getting some lighter blowing snow, 3 above. Hooper Bay, look at this, clear skies over the western interior and along the west coast, but there's this shallow batch of cold Arctic air that's riding southwestward down the Yukon, upper Kuskokwim valleys. And that's going to be pushing off the YK Delta as we go through Sunday, and that's what's going to lead to widespread heavy freezing spray over the northern and eastern Bering Sea with those stronger winds and cold offshore flow. Well, Chitina, bitter cold, 23 below zero as of this afternoon. Had lows down around 35 below there, and at McCarthy, also about 35 below around Gulkana and the Copper River Basin. So another cold night coming up there. Juneau, mostly clear, 12 above. Juneau is under a winter storm warning. Snow will be developing, and 6 to 14 inches of snow is expected through early Monday morning in the Juneau area. So here are the current hazardous weather watch warnings advisories. We'll start out with what we got going on here. Eastern Beaufort Sea coast, Point Thompson, Kaktovik, only until 6 p.m. this Saturday evening. Still some blowing snow may linger around that area. Anatuvik Pass getting some blowing snow, as is Gobbler's Knob in the highlands to the north and northeast of Fairbanks. And a little bit of light snow in this area as well. Nothing heavy, but just kind of an advisory to people maybe doing a little traveling, given it's the holidays. But down here across the Panhandle, much of the Panhandle under a winter storm warning. Prince of Wales Island under a winter weather advisory. We expect the precipitation there, the potential for accumulating snow is much lower. It's going to be little in the way of snow accumulation, but there could be a period of light freezing rain, Prince of Wales Island. But as that moisture works northward and encounters the colder air over the central northern Panhandle, it will fall as some heavier snow, with some of the heaviest snow along the intercoastal mountains. I can take that in closer here. So the intercoastal mountains here up in the middle higher elevations could see a foot or two of snow very easily. Juneau area 6 to 4. Some of these other middle islands and things, we're looking at at least 6 inches of snow. So again, we expect most of that for the inner channels and backed up along the intercoastal mountains, the area there just kind of west of the Portage, the Glacier Bay National Park. But looking at the satellite imagery, we have that moisture coming up. The low center's down here in the North Pacific. There's a front arcing ahead of it. Feet of moisture coming right up to the panhandle, so that's what's going to bring the heavier precipitation, mainly in the form of snow, accumulating snow there, the central northern panhandle. Meanwhile, the cold air continues to sit, especially in this region, southeast mainland interior. Still could be some lows again down around 35 below, is 40 below past couple of mornings around Tok. Still, we have a winter, just cold weather advisory here for the middle upper Tanana Valley because of those cold temperatures. There is a core of Arctic air over this region of the middle Yukon. It's heading southwestward, and that'll be pushing off the YK Delta later tonight and on Sunday, and then spreading over the areas of the Bering Sea, which will lead to heavy freezing spray Sunday and into Monday. So on the weather map this Saturday afternoon, here is the frontal system that'll be lifting northward across the panhandle as we go through Sunday. We have high pressure in place, eastern Russia, north slope, down here into northwest Canada. And then this is the, I kind of put a little front in here because there's this pocket or core of Arctic air that's going to be pushing southwestward out over the Bering Sea. As we get into late tonight, early Sunday morning, the front continues to creep northward up, still just south and west of the Panhandle coast. But as that moisture encounters the cold air, it'll be accumulating snow. Leading edge of that Arctic air pushes out into the Bering Sea, and then it induces trough of low pressure Sunday afternoon. We still have Arctic high pressure from eastern Russia across the north slope into the Canadian Arctic region. And then down here, this front continues to work its way inland a bit, and that's what's going to keep the snow going in the northern and central panhandle where it will be heaviest. This low will tend to weaken as another low comes up out of the North Pacific with another front. That front will lift northward and impact and re-enhance the precipitation along the Gulf Coast as we get into Tuesday. So as I said, to start off December, it looks like the most active weather will be down here along areas of the Gulf Coast as impulses of energy, low pressure come up out of the North Pacific, and then at times being enhanced by moisture feeds also coming up out of the North Pacific. Meanwhile, just cold temperatures, Alcan border, central eastern interior, areas of the Brooks Range. Taking a look at the temperatures tonight, coldest readings in the Panhandle, 12 above there at Haines, Skagway, 19. Juneau temperatures will come up as the cloud cover moves in. Lows near the freezing mark, Prince of Wales Island around Klawak, Craig, and again, the better potential for this area to see a period of light freezing rain. And then widespread below zero temperatures along the Alaska range, or multiple teens and 20s below, with pockets of 35 below here in the southeast interior, like around McCarthy. And then back to the west, single digits here. Breeze will pick up out of the northeast, even along areas of the Seward and the YK Delta coastlines. And for Sunday afternoon, highs stay below zero here across much of the interior and far north. Readings coming up, though, to the 40s as that front lifts northward. Prince of Wales Island should get temperatures back up at least into the lower 40s Sunday afternoon, but still near freezing or so. Juneau with some heavier snow likely, and then further north, cold air holds in place. Haines, Skagway up toward White Pass. Areas along the Alcan border, 17 below for highs. Eagle, Northway, and then along the west coast, teens, some single digits, northeasterly flow coming in off the mainland, and temperatures struggling to get up to about 32 at Dutch Harbor. And then even colder come Monday morning, 30, 35 below in some of the normal cold spots, such as Fort Yukon, Tok, Northway could be a bit colder than what's indicated here right now. Temperatures come up a bit with cloud cover, and snow should be gradually tapering off as we go into Monday. Temperatures 20s here for the northern panhandle, near 40, Ketchikan over toward Klawak and Craig. But getting into daytime temperatures below zero readings across the interior, and especially along the Alcan border. Yukon Flats not getting out of 22 below for a high there at Fort Yukon. Further west, obviously, Savunga, being helped by the relatively warmer waters around the North Bering Sea, though we are seeing ice development really increase now. We have pretty much the ice filling in here in Norton Sound. It's almost made it out between the mainland and Nunavik Island, so we'll watch with this cold northeasterly flow coming in here along the mainland. We're going to see the ice expand further toward the south and southwest as we go through early in the week. But here's an interesting thing. As we get through December 6th through the 10th, so that's next Friday through Monday, so next weekend, temperatures are going to average above normal. Now, given this time of year, whenever you have above normal temperatures, that means more water vapor can exist in the atmosphere. You're typically getting a southerly flow of some type, some ridging, because a warm ridge doesn't help you in terms of necessarily warming things up in the wintertime here as in the summer. But what this would suggest, it's December, it's winter, so if you still have temperatures near or a bit below freezing and you get a push of moisture coming northward out of the North Pacific across the Gulf, precipitation will average above normal, so this would spell the potential for some moderate to heavier precipitation coming up in this period, December 6th through the 10th. Areas of the southern southeast mainland, along the Gulf Coast, and including much of the Panhandle, especially the inner coastal mountains, so be ready for some additional snowfall and or mixed precipitation events, especially here the central southern parts of the Panhandle as we get past the first full week of December.